frustrating ride on public transit, cyber espionage, which country worries Canada? And believe it or not, this paper folds itself. I'm Afan Chaudhry, welcome to Globe Now. Toronto's transit system is scrambling to repair its image again. The Toronto Transit Commission has apologized to passengers and ordered an investigation following this video. Why? Well, here's the empty driver's seat. And without a driver, this bus ain't going anywhere. But it is allegedly running and its doors are open. The video was shot nearly 20 minutes after the driver reportedly left the bus and passengers. And then there's this moment when another driver who's just finished his shift explains why the bus's driver left.
Yeah, he jumped out. He jumped on the other bus and went home.
Yeah, I know, because he's finished.
And so what happens to us?
So what is the policy? Well, apparently at the end of a shift, the driver should wait until his or her replacement arrives. In other words, you're not supposed to leave the bus unattended like this. You're also not supposed to sleep on the job. And you're not supposed to text while you drive, especially when it's a public bus. These have been just some of the big headaches for TTC boss Andy Byford. His job ought to be about making the system operate efficiently, expanding the TTC, and making people happy. But instead, he and his communications team were doing damage control with the public again. Now stay with us. Up next, we talk about the threat of cyber espionage to Canada. What's the number one country when it comes to hacking and cyber espionage? Well, if you believe the United States, it is China. This week it laid charges against 5 Chinese hackers. But does Canada have anything to worry about? Well, apparently so. And the Globe's Colin Freeze has been reporting on the China espionage threat all week. Colin, welcome.
Yep.
Well, who is trying to spy on Canada?
Well, one of our top spy masters appeared at committee in the winter and said there's 100 countries that have developed the capability of spying on Canada, but he didn't name names. But I think the biggest adversary everybody's worried about in Ottawa is China, clearly. They won't say it, but they're worried about it.
Interesting. So why is China trying to spy on Canada?
Well, China has a reputation for years, before even computers were a fixture in everybody's home, for being voracious for intelligence. They had to catch up technologically on the West's decades lead. Now it has rooms full of army hackers in the Pudong in Shanghai, allegedly, who do nothing but get into Western corporations and Western governments and take what China needs.
Incredible. So how exactly are these Chinese hackers trying to do this?
Well, they're very sophisticated overall, but one of the most common techniques is spear phishing, the tried and true. Send somebody an email with a wonky attachment. Hey, Afan, here's some TV tips for you. Click on the attachment, boom. Whole network is exposed in the Globe and Mail to cyber hackers. And it's that little foothold that they use to just map things out and find people and documents of interest.
So I think the question that a lot of people are going to be curious about is, what is Canada doing about this threat?
I think not enough.
Right.
We have some federal government agencies, half dozen of them that are supposed to be doing cyber defense, but I think what you hear back from the industry is it's a bit of a disjointed response. Who is running the show? It's not clear. There are attempts to kick these guys out of the networks, but it's all very hush-hush. But I think over in recent years records have shown that Canada's been very exposed.
Now, the thing I'm curious about is that, China is doing this to Canada. Is Canada trying to do some of this cyber espionage to China?
Well, I think almost certainly where we are, whether or not anybody wants to admit it. I was reading a book not too long ago about the Tiananmen Square massacre, and Canada's embassy was allegedly used as a listening post while that was going on. China spies on us, we spy on China. There is a difference between the allied US and Canadian spy agencies in China in that they say, we don't steal trade secrets for our corporations. We don't, we're the good guys. We don't, take what's in China and give it to, give it to our corporations so they can profit. In other words, China may steal from Nortel for the benefit of Huawei.
Right.
We won't steal from Huawei for the benefit of Nortel.
Interesting.
Not that there's a Nortel to give it to anymore, but
exactly. Thank you so much, Colin. But we want to hear from you. Is Canada doing enough to combat cyber spying? What else do you think the Canadian government should do? You can find us at Globe Now. Okay, let's look at a story about innovation. A University of British Columbia student has invented something that could shake up the packaging industry. Atasina has created paper that can fold all by itself. Take a look at this invention.
The main goal of this project is replacing polymer and plastic with paper as a green material. The method that we use is just cut and crease paper by using an advanced machine right behind me. We attach some piece of polymer in some specific points of those kind of paper. When you heat it up, the polymer starts shrinking, and that 2D piece of paper transforms to the 3D model. It's just a simple origami pattern, and this weight is about 7 kilograms, and this small piece of paper can stand this heavy weight easily. And we can use a similar pattern for packaging. You can use them as a support. Even you can use this method for making some decorative stuffs or maybe furnitures in a way that you can buy something from the stores, as a piece of paper and carry to your place, heat them up, and then it transforms to a bed, to a chair.
Fascinating stuff. Well, that's it for today's show. Thanks for joining us. If you've got a moment, hop onto Twitter and tell us what you think. Do you have a public transit horror story? And how do you feel about the Toronto driver leaving the bus unattended? You can find us at Globe Now. I'm Afan Chaudhry. Thanks again for watching.